Well, welcome to Trend Chat. I know I was going to play my speech from the fundraiser on Friday, and I was just thinking I really don't have much to talk about. I mean, yeah, there's things going on, but I just didn't feel like there was anything really grabbing my attention to where I wanted to speak. And then, Senator Jeff Flake decided not to run for Reelection next year. Well, that just fell right into my lap. Now I got something to talk about. So I'll talk about that a little bit. And like I said, I will play the speech from the fundraiser on Friday and tell you a little bit about that experience. All that on this episode of Trend Chat. Welcome everybody to another episode of Trend Chat. I'm your host, Brian Bledsoe. And if you want to connect with us, whether on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's all the same name, Trend Chat 24/7. And I write for Politichicks. If you want to read my articles, just go to politichicks.com/author/Brian Bledsoe. I've said once, more than once about this music, and at one point I was thinking about changing the music or whatnot, but I said to myself, I'm not changing this music till I stop dancing to it every time it plays before the show starts. Like I play this, like I said before, I do a little cheer dancing in here, so once I stop dancing to it, then I might change it up, but until then I'm gonna keep on playing. So I don't know. That just kind of came to mind. But thanks for listening. And I really appreciate everyone who has been listening so far. And I just want to say, if you like it, just share it with your friends. Tell other people, hey, listen to this guy on Trend Chat. Be honest. He rants a little bit. He tends to go on and on about a point. You can be honest. I totally understand. but yeah, if you like it, let others know. And if you want, and who knows, if enough people start liking it, maybe this might be my full-time job, which would be fine. I mean, but if this is all I'm doing, this is fine too. But like we are on Google Play, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Might be looking into getting into some other platforms, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But right now it is Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. So however you're listening, or if you're just on trendchat247.com and listening through Spreaker, either way, however you're listening, even if you are listening to this not live and you listen to this in the morning, hey, good morning. But like I said in the beginning, I really didn't know what I would be talking about. I was thinking like, well, maybe I might wait till Thursday and do a show, and just do one this week. But I will be doing two, and I'll actually tell you who I have on, who I would have on Thursday and later on. But earlier today, when I was thinking about if I was going to even come on tonight, and then the news came pretty much while I was having that thought, it came across that Senator Jeff Flake is not going to run for re-election in 2018. Which, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, really? Because, I mean, for one, we've had Dr. Kelly Ward on our podcast earlier, and I had posted that on Twitter and Facebook on Trend Chat. That was episode 20. If I am, make sure I am correct. Yes, episode 20. So I've already posted that on the page. So if you want to go back and listen to that episode, because we kind of talked about her campaign then, but we also were talking about President Trump's first 100 days. But in that, we did talk about her campaign. So with knowing that race was coming up, just kind of assumed that he was going to be, running again. And so now with this news that came out, I mean, it kind of just seems that it's Dr. Kelly Ward's race, to win now. But I'm pretty sure it's not just going to be her, even in the primary. I wouldn't be surprised, especially given this news that they don't have Jeff Flake to run against. There's probably some others are going to pop in there now. I mean, we do have a good chunk of time right now because we're talking about 2018, and 2018 we're talking about November, so basically a year from now. So I'm pretty sure there'll be some coming in. But as someone full disclosure, I volunteered for Kelly Ward when she was running against John McCain, and I would definitely do it again if I ever drive through Arizona again. So just letting everyone know that right now. And with Jeff Flake, with him leaving, and he has definitely, I guess, built a reputation, not only being pretty much a fierce critic of President Trump, but even before that, he definitely wasn't what you would call a solid conservative. And I know he wrote this book, I think it was called Conscience of a Conservative, which is basically, it's laughable to consider that, given the fact that if you just, look at his record, and if you go to sites kind of like, Conservative Review or Heritage Action, which keep scorecards of every member of Congress. And if you look at, let's see, Conservative Review, his rating, he has a 53% rating. That is an F rating as far as his record in Congress, and on Heritage Action, it is 67%. It's a little better. Still, that's a D plus. I think Arizona can do a whole lot better than a 53 and a 67% of rating as far as advocating for conservative principles. But now Arizona has that chance, and they're going to have this primary coming up. And not only, just because the primary is over, then they have to go against whoever the Democrat challenger will be in general. And so far it is, I know last name was Cinema. I don't know if I said it right. I'm just how I see it. That's how I'm pronouncing it. But she is projected to be the Democratic nominee. So, yeah, I don't know. Have no idea where this is going to go. Where this race is, all the twists and turns this race is going to go down. But whether we're talking about Jeff Flake or even Senator Corker out in Tennessee, because he's not running for re-election, but outside of them not running again, to me, even going back to last week when I was talking about President Bush and his comments, it just really seems to me that these Republicans are more upset with people within their own party than they ever was with President Obama. Because that was my question for President Bush and making his comments and wanting to get out there and speak up now. All those years with Obama and not only President Bush, but a lot of these other senators, representatives, or whatnot. I'm not going to say they didn't say nothing. I'm not going to say that because I'm pretty sure if you said that, those people would gladly bring up some clips. Say, look, I stood up to the president, to Obama back then. Look at what I said. Look at what I did, and blah blah blah. The thing is that the level of the criticism, how harsh their criticism is, it seems to be not near the level as far as how they're going after President Trump or just the Trump administration in general. It seemed like when it was, as far as when it came to Obama, the past 8 years, the general answer you will hear is that, we got our hands are tied because he's the president, he has veto power, and they basically just kicked rocks and just sat around we can't do anything. If you give us the presidency, maybe we'll do something or whatever like that, and just making up a whole ton of excuses. And now that you have President Trump in the White House, it just seems like now, I don't know, kind of feel like that they're never satisfied or something. You got what you wanted. You didn't get the person you wanted, maybe, but you did get something. It's not like you're working with the Clinton administration right now, which I don't know. Maybe these guys feel like if they had a Clinton administration, they'll be better off. I guess. I don't know. That's what it kind of seems like to me. It feel like they would have rather had Hillary Clinton in the White House than who they have now. And so, because they seem like they take every chance they can get to criticize President Trump on anything. and I'm not saying like they're criticizing everything he does, because there are some times where they agree, but when it's time for them to lay some criticism, they have no problem just getting in front of a CNN camera, because that's when they definitely like to talk to those Republicans. In CNN be waiting for them for that. Oh, you got something bad to say about Trump? Oh, here's a microphone. CNN's right there with you. There you go. MSNBC right there. But that's just kind of how I'm seeing it, as far as all the critics out there, at least, trying to just. I feel like it's just over the top. I'm not saying you can't be critical. I just feel like if the person was as critical of Obama and now is just as much critical of President Trump, okay, that I can go with that. But if you were silent as a church mouse during the Obama years, and now all of a sudden you want to come out and just start popping off at the mouth about everything President Trump does, that's what I have a problem with. But one thing, whether we're talking about Senator Corker or Senator Flake, even though they have made these announcements that they're not running for re-election, that doesn't mean that they're stepping down. Senator Flake didn't say, I am not running for re-election in 2018 and I'm stepping down immediately. That's not what he said. So that basically means he's going to be there pretty much for the next year, and basically going into January of 2019. So don't be surprised that his criticism of the Trump administration goes even further now. And I wouldn't be surprised him and others in the future who are very much critical of the president and maybe are not going to seek re-election. I wouldn't be surprised that they just become a thorn in the side of the president by just nitpicking and just basically being a nuisance for the next, 16 months until January of 2019. Because the simple fact that they're not going to run because maybe they saw their poll numbers and they saw they wasn't going to win their primary, or at least it was going to be very difficult. And now they're upset and want to basically cause as much havoc as possible. I know someone posted on Facebook maybe a couple of days ago, and someone was asking, this was talking about John McCain, and saying, has John McCain switched over to the Democratic Party yet? That's funny, and I understand the sentiment, but I replied back saying that there's no way he's going to, switch parties. Why would he? He could cause just as much trouble, be just as much of a pain, being a quote unquote maverick or moderate or whatever rhino term you want to use, and being, basically being a Republican. He can cause as much damage as possible by staying in the party. So why would he switch over? So that was my response to that. But, I definitely understand the feeling as far as whether you're talking about John McCain or any of these others who are just always running to some liberal media, whether it is, MSNBC or CNN or whatnot, and just who want to give their criticism of the day, whatever it is. So, that's just something I definitely wanted to bring up, is that these people are not going away. You're going to have to deal with them for the next year or so, over a year. And yeah, I'm just going to say again, it is, they are not going to be, easy to deal with in the next, in these next couple of months, next year or so. They're probably going to try to hold up any conservative, legislation of any kind, and just want to basically just impede as much from the conservative movement as possible. That's what I think. I think they're really going to play politics with everything, only because they just, I don't know, they just don't like President Trump. And to the point that where I feel like, why couldn't you have used all those, resources and all the, I guess, whether you want to use stalling tactics or whatever, and play politics and, stomp around like a child. And why didn't you do all that when Obama was in office? I mean, you could have done all that then, but no. Well, look at that. I thought we missed the train, but I don't know if y'all can hear that, but the train is coming through. So while that is happening, let's hear from our friends with the Founder Project.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
Thank you, Train, for coming by. That was a good transition. Actually, I was done anyway. That train came through and I was like, well, I guess I'm done. I can go ahead and play this commercial right quick. And well, about saying that, so I am in Sioux City, Iowa. I don't know if it's Sioux City, Iowa or not. It could be Nebraska. I really can't remember. And I'm not finna go try to look it up right now. But yeah, I'm in Sioux City. I think it is Iowa. But yep. So I actually thought I got past that train, because right before the show started, there was a train going by, and I'm like, hold on, let me wait for it to pass by before I start the show. And like, okay, I'm good. And just to show, here comes another train. But I just add a little ambiance to the podcast. Had sound effects I didn't even have to pay for. There you go. So Well, I was basically done talking about that anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and play this speech. And before I get to playing this speech with the Republican women of Arlington at the fundraiser on Friday, this past Friday, I guess my experience, just gets to touch on it a little bit. I was a nervous wreck, for real. It's just something that I'd never done before, as far as coming up on a podium and basically having a speech prepared, and I'm going to talk about this particular subject, and I'm going to do this. I have whatever time I have, and so it's just something I've never done before. I've stood up and said a couple of words of this and that, or asked a question. I've done that, but something that goes past 2 sentences, no, I haven't. And so yeah, I don't know if people could see it, but in me, but I was nervous like crazy that night, just because I just didn't know what to expect. But it was a good nervous, because I was excited, but I was like, man, I don't know how this is gonna go as far as going up on stage. I was just excited, but nervous at the same time. And actually, the one thing that kind of helped me is because you're actually going to hear at the very beginning, I kind of make a joke saying that, him again, because I've been up there. Well, I haven't been up on the podium. So I did the invocation at the beginning of the fundraiser. So I was already up there then. And then they had went around the room as far as people who was running for candidates, running for office. And I am running for precinct chair in Arlington in precinct 2553. So I was standing there to make that announcement. So that was the second time. And the third time was me coming up there to do the speech and introduce the politics. And so that actually helped me, because people have seen me twice already. So by that time they seen me again. So that's why I made the little joke there. But I want to say I'm definitely grateful for the Republican women of Arlington again for having me. And I definitely would say doing this podcast helped a tremendous deal. Even though, I'm doing this live right now, but I'm behind the microphone and I am looking at absolutely no one. You're hearing me wherever you are. Once again, thank you for listening. Really appreciate it. And I say again, if you like this, tell your friends and family. Let's get to 100. Let's get to 100 million plays one day. But yeah, doing this podcast definitely helped a lot, because as nervous as I was to get up on the podium to start speaking, once I got up there, I was fine. It was just the unknown of, doing this particular thing that I just couldn't wrap my head around. But once I got up there, I was just fine. It's funny because I had my speech on a tablet, on my phone, and printed on paper because I did not want to lose it. And so if my phone went out, I had it on my tablet. My tablet went out, I had it printed out. I did all of that. I rehearsed it like 5 or 6 times in the hotel room before the fundraiser. And I had all that. Next thing I know, I'm up there on the podium, and I basically, I don't know, maybe I repeated it so much in my mind, I didn't even need none of the notes. I basically said it all from memory, which I thought I didn't even bend over to pick up the notes, because I would just got up there and just started talking, and all of it came in, right on cue in my head. I'm like, wow, this absolutely is working. That's what I'm saying to myself as I'm talking, on the podium. So anyway, I just want to tell you a little bit about that. And Also, just kind of give a little backstory as far as why I say what I'm going to say at the beginning of this, because, like I said, I've been up in front of everyone at least twice by now, and now they're seeing me again. So now, without further ado, here is my speech to the Republican women of Arlington at the fundraiser this past Friday.
I guess y'all probably saying, like, him again? How many times you gonna come up here? But thank you to the Republican women of Arlington for having me. Given this is my very first speaking engagement, and I can't think of a better place to do it among so many people who have helped me and encouraged me. So I'm definitely proud to do it here, especially among being here with the event, with the politics especially. So I had a couple people give me some advice as far as public speaking. I remember asking Chris about giving some tips as far as what to do, and I did speak to Dr. Walter Williams recently, and I'm going to take his advice. All of the advice was good, but I definitely want to take his advice because he said, just know what you're talking about. So I am going to heed that advice. I'm going to just basically tell you a little bit about myself, but I also want to use that in the context of the amazing women in my life. So first off, I'm going to start off with my mom, obviously, because literally without her, I wouldn't be here. So I definitely want to mention that. And as a former fetus, I'm definitely glad to show my life. So, and my mom and dad, they raised me on conservative values, even though it wasn't articulated that way. Now, we disagree on how we vote according to those values, but when we talk about individual issues, we tend to agree. Now, also growing up with older sisters, I also, especially one of my sisters, she served 20 outstanding years in the Army, and it was definitely it was definitely something that I wanted to replicate, but unfortunately I wasn't able to serve as long as that. So, but I noticed when we all did the candidates that were standing around, the reason why I didn't mention too much about myself, because I knew I was coming back up here. So just to give you a little bit about myself, I was basically an apathetic Democrat for like 2007. And the only reason that changed is because I wanted to basically be the Christian that I claimed I was since I was a kid. And so by having that newfound, inspiration, I wanted to vote according to my principles as opposed to just going to the ballot, hit D, go home, play video games, and whatnot. By going through those principles, I basically did a blank slate, because I didn't know what conservative meant. I didn't know what Democrat, Republican. I had no clue. Like I said, I was just told to just go vote Democrat and go home. So when I started doing my research and just looking on both sides, and to my surprise, I noticed that none of the policies and principles of the Democratic Party did not line up at all, whether we're talking about the views on abortion, views on taxes, views on legal immigration, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, and so after that initial shock, I like, well, I guess I'm going to have to vote Republican for the first time. And this was in 2008. So even though I noticed that I was going to vote Republican in 2008, I wasn't particularly still thrilled about it, only because I wasn't thrilled with the nominee at the time. Now, I'm just saying that because you're talking about someone in 2008 who was just now learning about what's going on, and so I know I didn't like both candidates, honestly. And I was at the point to where I wasn't going to vote, because I had a very shallow view of the presidential election. It's not how I think of it now, but back then, I only saw one man on a ticket. But the thing about it is that whether it's one man on a ticket, that's not really the issue. The thing is that there's an administration that's right after it. And so now, thinking back now, if I saw myself, back in the future, and I just said, you would be better off with a McCain administration far more than an Obama administration. So that's how I see it now. But back then, I just didn't know. So here I am, probably about close to June, thinking about not voting at all. But that was until a certain governor from Alaska joined the ticket. And so, now I know that the stats go to, the people who were influenced by the vice presidential pick is like very minuscule, very few people. But I'm here to tell you, I'm one of those people. Because if Sarah Palin was not on that ticket, I wouldn't have voted at all. Because I tell many people that after the election, I've mentioned that if I voted for Sarah Palin, I didn't vote for McCain because that's huge. I mean, I was just being honest because when people asked after, I voted for Palin, and what I say is that she was the first person I voted for as opposed to voting against someone, and so that basically kind of started my whole kind of political career, and career, I don't want to say career for it, but process, and so obviously we had the 8 years of Obama, but also the rise of the Tea Party movement. Now in those couple of years, I became friends with Anne Marie Morrell, who was running Politics, and we met after some time, and shortly after that I started writing for Politics, and my first article was about going to CPAC for the first time in 2016. So, and now then I had the crazy idea to run for a national delegate to go to the Republican National Convention, and once again, Republican women like the Northeast Tarrant Tea Party President Julie McCarty and former Tarrant County Chair Jennifer Hall, they helped me as far as getting through the paperwork and learning through the process and all that. And even when I was at the state convention, had people praying for me, and Senator Connie Burton actually, she helped me as far as how to go through the process and learning as far as the selection goes to become a delegate. And I became a national delegate and went to Cleveland last year. And so that's what I wrote about in the Politics article. And one thing I wrote about in the book, Politics, Kramer called it political activism. You can get your copy today. Amazon? Yep, Barnes and Noble as well. So, and the article that I wrote in this book was about my time as a delegate. And one thing that I wrote is that I actually kind of felt the people who supported me on the convention floor. I mean, I'm not trying to be mystical or nothing like that, but it was where I kind of felt, where I hear, from people who are running, they tend to say, well, I couldn't have done this without you. I literally felt that way. I always used to hear that and just kind of thought that was just something you would just say, but as someone that got that support from people, I felt that on that floor, and I really appreciated that. It's kind of like, one time I got emotional writing about it, because it really was for me, because to have people out there who believe in you and want you to go out and use your voice, it was definitely a very humbling experience. And it's definitely Republican women just like yourselves here. And one thing I would say is that for me, Republican women, I don't just see them as friends. I see them as like whether my grandmother or my mother, my aunt, niece, sister, daughter. I definitely see as far as how much they've been supportive of me, and I appreciate every bit of the support. And I just thank you very much and for everything you've done. And
yeah, I would say, well, thank you to myself, but yeah. So that was a speech from Friday, and it was well, after that's when I introduced the Politics for the fundraiser, and it was, like I said, once I got up there, I felt comfortable. Once I got behind the podium, I was fine. Like I said, it was just all day leading up to that point. It was just like, man, I don't know what's about to happen. But it was kind of cool to, to have that happen, and it was over. And I guess a moment of self-awareness about myself. I've noticed I have what you call filler words, but other than, and all that. But I noticed that I guess everyone has certain words that they really are bad at repeating. And I'm pretty sure if y'all been listening to me long enough, I'm pretty sure y'all probably kind of have caught this as well. Given that I listen to myself when I'm playing a lot of these interviews, when I'm doing the editing part, and I'm listening to not only myself, but to be honest, when I'm doing the editing of the interviews, it has barely nothing to do with the person I'm interviewing. It's all about me for the most part, as far as editing myself, as far as when how I'm asking the question or whatever, and I'm mostly editing how I'm speaking more so than what person that I'm interviewing. And I've noticed I say definitely and basically a lot. I was like, I gotta find other words. Like, I keep saying that. I noticed it about myself. So if I'm noticing it, I'm pretty sure someone else already noticed that. But anyway, that was just, I don't know, just listening to that. I don't think I said it that much then, but it was just something that kind of, I feel like I'm saying something over, repeating myself. That in process. But anyway, I have mentioned before, I'm definitely pretty highly critical of myself when I'm listening, because I'm like, I could have said that better in this. Even some parts of the speech, I missed like 2 or 3 words in what I wrote that I didn't say in that speech. And I could have said that there and here. So who knows? I might get another opportunity to do another speech somewhere else. I don't know. When that happens, I'll let you know. But we'll see. But just want to say thank you everyone for listening in, and I can say for Thursday we will have another podcast, and we will have Audrey Pruitt on. He's a media commentator, and he's an author who has wrote a book called Plain Steaks and Water, and he is also running for U.S. Congress in Texas District 8 as a Republican. So he'll be running against Kevin Brady, who is the incumbent right now. And so we talked with him today, and we'll play that interview on Thursday. So that is the podcast for Thursday. I know a lot of times I don't get a chance to mention that on the previous podcast, honestly, because I don't know. A lot of this happens like on the day of, almost the day before. So we're just keeping up with the fact that it's called Trend Chat. We're just sitting back, we're waiting, seeing what's happening, and then when we, something that kind of really, grabs my attention to the point to where I want to cut on this microphone, then I'll do a podcast. So once again, say again, over and over again, thank you for listening. And we are on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TrendChat247.com. Appreciate everyone listening and spreading the word and telling everyone that, hey, download or listen live like right now. But just I really do appreciate it. Like I mentioned in the speech, everyone, with their support, whether it's for the podcast or, when I do write for Politics and my articles there, and just, and whatever else. Actually, with this now that I'm going to be running for precinct chair in Arlington in precinct 2553, letting everyone know there. So I'm not looking to, guess it's going to be a race really, because no one else has filed. So it's basically just going to be me just taking over the spot for the current precinct chair. But it is an elected position nevertheless. So, look forward to doing that. Actually kind of go around and see how to do the job and whatnot. So guess I'll, call for your support there, however way I would need it. Whether it's just if you live in that precinct. But yep, just want to mention that. And so that's it for this week. Not this week. What I'm talking about? What are you talking about, Bledsoe? No, it's not this week. We'll be back on Thursday. So until Thursday, we will chat with you later.